I hope you're having an amazing day. Thank you for being here, and also thank you for 60.8K, moving on to 60.9, moving on to, not 69. I almost said moving on to 69. Moving on to 61. Thank you for all the love and support. I had a little brain moment there, but I noticed something last night that I'm not going to try and hype it up. I just wanted to bring something to your attention, and it could be big, but probably won't be, but I still think it's really interesting enough to share, okay? So last night, we got a reveal that Android 21 is going to be the next DOKKANFEST arriving to JP Dokkan. Now, it could also be for global. I highly doubt it. I think Super Trunks is next, but that's besides the point. Android 21, this is, I think, big because this is the first non-Pure Saiyan DOKKANFEST that Dokkan has ever received in terms of crossover. Like, sorry, I should have reworded that. This is the first non-Pure Saiyan crossover character, DOKKANFEST, I should say, that Dokkan has ever received outside of things like Heroes, right? Heroes releases, you know, I guess you can call them. Are they just considered DOKKANFEST or like pseudo Dokkan? I'm pretty sure they're DOKKANFEST, right? Like the Goku and the Vegeta and even like the Hearts, for example. But as of like a monthly DOKKANFEST character, we have never received a character outside of the Pure Saiyan category. Just to give you a quick example, we've got Broly here, who is of course a DOKKANFEST character. Super Saiyan 3 Broly doesn't actually exist in canon, of course, right? He is a crossover character, but he's also Pure Saiyans, right? We also have Bardock. It's literally Broly and Bardock. Bardock all the way, right? So all of these, and of course Bardock is one of those characters where it's like, you have to introduce him in the game at some point, you know, and no matter how you introduce him, he's going to be a crossover character. So it's not really like he's not really a crossover character the same way, you know, a Rage Vegeta or you know, a Berserk controlled Vegeta would be, right? Or he's not on the same crossover level of like a Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, because it's Bardock, one of the most popular Saiyans, and Broly, of course, is another really popular Saiyan. So these Saiyans that exist as DOKKANFEST are definitely crossover category characters, but they're not necessarily like super out there crossover characters, if that makes sense. And besides that, of course, Android 21 comes in as the first ever non-Saiyan crossover category, you know, DOKKANFEST, which I feel like is really interesting because moving forward, we know Dokkan is doing things like, not custom animation, but Dokkan original animations, right? And we know that they don't really care with what they drop next, because those Dokkan original animations can really, it doesn't, like, they're not like scared, for example, of dropping another Super Gogeta from Fusion Reborn, right? Because we've seen those animations play out all throughout the years multiple times. But they, with their Dokkan original animations that they do now, you know, it's literally a whatever at this point. And even the recent, what's it called? The story mode character, Broly and Trunks, like, Dokkan is doing whatever they want, and I love it. And I'm just sitting here wondering, like, could maybe the DOKKANFEST at the end of the year for JP also have some crossover category characters? Could we even see some anniversary fusion character? Like, what if we got, as the thumbnail of this video suggests, like, what if we got like a Blue Kaioken Vegito for not anniversary? It doesn't have to be anniversary, but just like a standalone DOKKANFEST throughout the year. I mean, it's not necessarily a, you know, a Pure Saiyans character, because they don't really count fusions as Pure Saiyans, but that's a Fuse Fighters, right? We're seeing now that Pure Saiyans, or even these popular, you know, Pure Saiyan characters, they don't really, like, Dokkan isn't afraid to go out of that realm when it comes to these crossover characters. So a Blue Kaioken Vegito, I think, even if it's anniversary related, is definitely possible. Like, if let's say the 9th year anniversary is fusions related, for example, right? We can get a standalone Blue Gogeta, right? Standalone Blue Vegeta, which we have neither of in the game, besides the free to play. Okay, we don't have a let me double back. We don't have a single standalone summonable Blue Vegito and Blue Gogeta in the game. The free-to-play LR STR one counts. He's an LR, but he's not summonable. I'm talking about like a top-tier premium summonable standalone Blue Gogeta Blue. We don't have any of that in the game just yet. We don't even have a standalone LR summonable Super Gogeta from Fusion Reborn. Because all the ones that we have are transforming into Gogeta, right? Either that or the TURs exist as just a standalone. So, fusions could definitely be a thing. And if that's the case, what's stopping the Carnival Part 2 character from being Blue Kaioken and Vegito 200% lead to crossover? Like, is that really out of the realm possibility? I would say no, right? God Trunks already exists, right? I'm just trying to see, again, I don't really watch Heroes. Or really know the other IPs like that to sit here and just speculate on everything we could possibly receive. I just think that it's super interesting in terms of the future of what Dokkan could hold if they're not afraid to touch a category like crossover outside of Heroes, because Heroes is when we get buffs for all of these different categories, right? Crossover is very rarely touched outside of Heroes, and of course there are some exceptions, like LR Hachiyak here, right? That's definitely an exception, a recent LR at that as well. We also have some other banner units, like let's say this STR Trunks. Where is he? STR Trunks, who recently got buffed. We also have here, some of the Dragon Ball Fusions characters that sort of recently got EZAs, and all the Bardock EZAs recently with the recent Bardock buffs. But besides, again, look at this. So this Broly released 2017. This guy released 2 of the 4 Pure Saiyan crossover characters released in 2017. And then we have, actually, no, hold on. 2017, 3 of the crossover characters released in 2017. And then Bardock here was 2020. So we very rarely get Dokkan Fest like this. That touched the crossover, that buffed the crossover category. So the fact that we're getting another one now, that's not even like a super hype character. I would argue 21 isn't necessarily like the hypest character of all time. Should probably be broken, right? But the fact that we're getting this, I think, is just very interesting, and I think it really does open up more doors in terms of possibilities, because I always thought if they ever touch this category, it has to be a hype character, right? Like someone who's going to be pulling in the big bucks. But now we know it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to even be a Pure Saiyan. It can be a Fuse Fighter. It can be a Peppy Gal, right? It can literally be anything. And it just makes me, and again, I'm not saying this is going to be some crazy anniversary or anything like that. I just wanted to bring this to your attention because when we're speculating about what's coming next for Dokkan, we have to keep things like this in mind. It could be a crossover buff, right? Not necessarily Heroes, but it could be a crossover buff. And at that, or keeping that in mind, it doesn't have to be a Saiyan, right? And in this case, I personally believe that Vegito is a Saiyan, right? He's obviously a Saiyan, but in Dokkan terms, when I say not a pure Saiyan, I mean not a pure Saiyan, but it could be a Fuse Fighter, right? It could even be an extreme. Like I think it would be really cool to see like would they do an LR for crossover though? Like a summonable L. We don't have a single summonable LR for crossover. That's very interesting. I don't know, man. I just have a feeling that some of these big celebrations coming up could have, whether it's a free-to-play LR, whether they're just banner units, something that continues to push this crossover agenda, if you will. Sort of like a pseudo Masningen, Heroes agenda kind of thing. But I don't know. I just think it's very interesting. And I want to bring it to your attention. Let me know what you think. And let me know what you'd like to see. What Dokkan Fest character would you like to see from the crossover category? So essentially a character who is not really in the main, how would you call it? The main continuity. Like, I would say Xenoverse counts. I think there is a really cool cutscene in Heroes. Sorry. A really cool cutscene in Xenoverse. I haven't watched it in years, so I don't really know how it goes, but I think it's like a Blue Goku and Future Gohan. Am I right about that? You know how sick a card like that would be? And it's dude, if if Broly and Trunks can exist as a card, don't even sit here and tell me, don't even try it, that a Xenoverse Blue Goku and Future Gohan can exist as a card. I don't know. Again, I just like things like this because it really does show that Dokkan can do whatever they want, and they could. What would the Part 2 LR even be? Because if you think about it, Android 21, she is Dragon Ball Super superhero related, right? In the sense that, you know, the whole she's very, okay, I should say she's very loosely, she is mentioned in the movie. She's very loosely related to superhero. It's just that, you know, she was the one who was with Jiro, and Android 16 is her son. I forgot what was her real name again? I forgot. I forgot. But again, what will Part 2 even be? Like, I don't even, like, what does that look like? Android 16? Or could it be superhero stuff? Right? I don't know, man. I don't know. But let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed Blue Kaioken Vegito. I just have a feeling it's coming up, man. I don't know what it's gonna be for, but let's not act like it's not possible. Let's not act like it's not possible. They're dropping DOKKANFEST outside of Heroes for this crossover category, and now that we're not even getting a pure Saiyan one, means every other category that you see here, every other category that let's pull it up. Every other category that you see here is legitimately a option for a random DOKKANFEST or an LR. So let's take a look at this. Well, I guess, I mean, the main category would be crossover, right? That's like the main thing. But I don't know. I'm just excited. It makes me happy to think about. So let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and peace.